With a reputation for being one of the better affordable options that can compete with high-value amps, the BOSS Katana Mark II really stormed the gates and is one of the more popular amps on the market right now. We're here to find out what makes this amp so famous and solidify whether or not the hype is real. Let's do it. What is up, everybody, and welcome to Musician Wave. My name is Milan, and today I'll be talking about the BOSS Katana Mark II. Thank God it's the smallest version. This is the 1x12 50-watt version right here, but you also have a 1x12 and a 2x12 100-watt version and a 100-watt head. For now, we'll be taking a look at the 50-watt version I have right here, and just a note, this is not a sponsored video. We got this amp ourselves in hopes of testing it and providing unique and unbiased feedback. You can check out the description below for links on where to buy this amp, and without further ado, let's get started. My first impressions of the BOSS Katana Mark II 50 are mostly positive. Right off the bat, I can tell you that this is a good and versatile amp with a wide range of effects and amp models. But the first thing I noticed is that it doesn't have an onboard tuner. That means that you have to buy one separately. Another thing is that some fiddling around is a must to get the right sound, but this is quite common with a lot of amps. Overall, I think it's pretty solid as first impressions go, but we'll go more in depth and see what it's really all about. Let's start with the controls. Under amplifier, you have 5 different amp types: the acoustic, clean, crunch, lead, and brown. You also have this variation switch right here that gives you a slightly different tone from the amp type you have selected. Next, you have the gain and volume dials, pretty standard. Moving on to the EQ section, you have bass, mid, and treble dials, also pretty standard. Now, under effects, and this is where it gets interesting, you have 5 different effects that include a booster, mod, FX, delay, and reverb. I really like the knob design right here. The bottom one is for the left effect and the top one is for the right one. A lot to play around here and definitely some interesting ones. Lastly, we have the main section on the far right. You have the master volume control, the power control dial with a 0.5, 25, and 50 watt choice, which is quite useful if you're practicing at home, and naturally, the power switch. Right above this is your channel strip. Now, the 50-watt version has 2 channels, but the other versions have a total of 4 channels. This is where you can save your presets for later use. Pretty simple and useful. It's worth mentioning that you can use the dedicated Boss Tone Studio to connect your BOSS Katana to your computer. With this software, you can customize your amp's settings, download new effects, and even back up and restore your custom settings. You can also use the software to download new patches from other users or share your own patches. It's really easy to use, and it's a great tool for customizing. On the back of the amp, you can see the different connectivity options. It does have a headphone mount if you're into quiet practicing, and it's also a recording out. And right next to it is your foot control jack, which you can use to connect a foot switch. Now, a foot switch isn't included, so if you want that upgrade, you have to buy it separately. Next, we have the auxiliary in and a USB Type-B jack. And lastly, the power amp input is on top. For a 50-watt amp, I'd say this is pretty decent. You can connect up to 2 foot switches or an expression pedal if you like, so that's pretty nice. What I did notice is that the 50-watt version doesn't have an FX loop, which is kind of the only setback here. For those who enjoy looping, you'll be better off using one of the more powerful versions of this amp. The focal point of this amp is the different amp types you have on the top panel. You also have the variation switch, which does change the sound, but not enough to really make a difference, in my opinion. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong, but it's just that I don't hear it that much. A lot of people say that it has 10 different amp voicings, but again, there's not a major difference in sound. The amp types do sound great. With some fiddling around, and trust me, there is fiddling around, you can cover a lot of genres with this thing. Given the onboard effects, you can go from something extremely melodic and mellow to something hard and heavy. It caters to everyone. You can pump out some really classy instrumental melodies, or you can turn it up a notch and get that high gain going for some rock and metal sounds. The one amp type you don't see a lot of is the acoustic one, which is great if you're plugging in an acoustic electric guitar. The main reason why this amp is so popular is the feature-packed design and sound, but also the value for price ratio. This is a very affordable amp and an excellent choice for guitar players on a budget. Despite the low price tag, it doesn't compromise on quality and it's built to last. You have a lot of worthy alternatives to the BOSS Katana Mark II that fall under the same price range and have a similar design and features like the Fender Mustang GTX 50, the LT 50, the Marshall Code 50, but the one amp that stood out while we were testing this one was the Line 6 Catalyst 60. It has really similar features to the Mark II, but as always, each amp is good for certain things, so it's more a matter of preference. We actually did a review on the Line 6 Catalyst 60, and you can check it out with the link in the description below. Overall, I think the BOSS Katana Mark II is an excellent amplifier that offers exceptional tone and a lot of features at an affordable price. It's a versatile amplifier that's suitable for a range of styles, and it's also easy to use. The Boss Tone Studio software is a great tool for customizing, and the built-in effects section is a nice touch. The amp's compact size makes it easy to transport, and it's built to last. However, as I mentioned, it doesn't have an FX loop or an onboard tuner, which might be a deal breaker for some guitar players. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you like this video, and we'll see you next time.